in the heart of Egypt's Valley of the Kings, something has been waiting for over 3,000 years. November 26, 1922. Archaeologist Howard Carter breaks through a wall untouched since the pharaohs. The first candlelight cuts the darkness, revealing something impossible. But what he found was more than treasure, a tomb overflowing with 5,000 artifacts and secrets that shook history. A dagger of alien metal, 2 mummified infants, a royal scandal that nearly destroyed a dynasty. This is the true story of Tutankhamun, the boy king who died at 19, but whose tomb remains the most spectacular discovery on Earth. Are you ready to step inside? Weapons from the stars. Look at this dagger, buried right beside the mummy of the youngest pharaoh in Egyptian history. To the naked eye, it's simply a magnificent ceremonial weapon with a curved blade and a handle of pure gold, decorated with intricate patterns that speak of divine protection. But in 2016, when experts from the University of Milan conducted detailed spectrographic analysis, they discovered something that changed everything we thought we knew about ancient metallurgy. 90% iron, 11% nickel, and traces of cobalt, the perfect signature of a meteorite from the depths of space. This dagger then wasn't forged from Earth's iron ore, it was crafted from a fragment of our solar system's birth that had traveled millions of miles through the cosmos to land in ancient Egypt. The ancient Egyptians called iron, B-I-A-N-P-E-T, metal from heaven. They understood that this precious material fell from the sky as gifts from the gods. But here's what's truly extraordinary. Iron from meteorites is incredibly difficult to work with. It's 10 times harder than ordinary iron. It requires temperature and techniques that we assumed were impossible 3,000 years ago. Yet somehow, ancient Egyptian craftsmen not only worked this cosmic metal, but shaped it into a masterpiece that rivals anything we can create today. The dagger wasn't just functional, every detail was symbolic. The golden handle represented the eternal sun. The meteorite blade connected the pharaoh to the cosmic order. Even in death, Tutankhamun would carry a piece of the universe with him into the afterlife. Imagine this scene, an 18-year-old pharaoh in the flickering light of oil lamps, holding this weapon, knowing he possessed something that had traveled through the void of space to reach his hands. To the ancient Egyptians, this wasn't just rare, it was divine, a physical manifestation of the connection between earthly pharaohs and celestial gods. But this cosmic dagger that is just one mystery among thousands that make Tutankhamun's tomb unlike anything else ever discovered. The forgotten souls. There are discoveries that change everything we thought we knew about the past. Discoveries so profound they force us to see ancient people not as distant figures, but as individuals who loved, who grieved, who faced the same heartbreaks that touch every human life. In 2008, when DNA analysis technology finally became sophisticated enough to decode genetic mysteries that had remained hidden for over 3 millennia, scientists made a discovery that transformed our understanding of Tutankhamun's story. 2 small mummies, carefully preserved in miniature coffins, found in the pharaoh's tomb, were identified through genetic analysis as his own daughters. Both children died tragically young. One baby lived only 5 to 6 months. The other may have died at birth or within days of being born. This revelation transforms everything. Suddenly, this isn't just a story of Tunan say about ancient pharaohs and golden treasure. This is the story of a young father, barely out of adolescence himself, who lost both his children and chose to take them with him into eternity. The tiny golden coffins were crafted with the same meticulous care, reserved for pharaohs. Every hieroglyph, every protective symbol, every miniature canopic jar was positioned to ensure these small souls would be safe in the journey ahead. Think about the profound love this represents. In ancient Egypt, infant mortality was tragically common, but most families couldn't afford elaborate burial for children who died so young. Tutankhamun used the full resources of the Egyptian empire to ensure his daughters received every protection, every comfort that religion and wealth could provide. But here's what makes this even more poignant. These children have no names in any historical record, no official acknowledgement of their brief lives, no royal inscriptions celebrating their birth. This might reflect the ancient Egyptian understanding that children who died so young hadn't yet established their full identity in the world. Or perhaps when it shows something more personal, that some grief is too deep, too private for public ceremonies. The genetic information from these tiny mummies helped scientists piece together the complex family relationships of Egypt's 18th dynasty. Through studying these children, we learned more about royal bloodlines, marriage practices, and the intricate web of relationships that shaped ancient Egyptian politics. Even in death, these small souls continue to teach us about their world. Traces of ancient visitors, one of the most intriguing aspects of Tutankhamun's tomb, challenges our basic assumptions about archaeological discovery. We've long been told that Howard Carter Salmon was the first person to enter this tomb in over 3,000 years. But careful examination of the tomb's contents tells a different, more complex story. Archaeological evidence clearly indicates that this tomb had been entered at least twice in ancient times, but not by thieves or vandals. The pattern of disturbance suggests careful, respectful visitors who had legitimate reasons for being there. Here's what the evidence shows. Several perfume containers had been opened, their contents partially used, then carefully resealed. This suggests someone conducting religious ceremonies or maintenance rituals that required specific oils and incenses. 413 Ushabti figurines, those magical servants meant to work for the pharaoh in the afterlife, were arranged in patterns that indicate someone had examined each one, then repositioned them according to specific ritual requirements. Small valuable items, like jewelry, were wrapped in linen cloth and tucked into unexpected locations. A golden ring found inside a scarf suggests someone, possibly a priest or official, had access to personal items and treated them with great reverence. This pattern is completely different from typical tomb robbery. Thieves would have grabbed the most valuable items and fled quickly. These ancient visitors took time, showed respect, and seemed to be conducting official business. Perhaps they were priests maintaining religious obligations, maybe royal officials. They needed to add or retrieve specific items for ceremonial purposes, or possibly family members, and returning to pay respects and ensure everything was properly arranged for the pharaoh's eternal journey. What's remarkable is that despite these ancient entries, over 5,000 artifacts remained intact, beautifully preserved for Carter's team to discover. This tells us that whoever entered this sacred space treated it with the utmost care and reverence. They weren't destroyers, but guardians, ensuring that Tutankhamun's eternal rest remained undisturbed. The mystery of royal death. For nearly a century, historians and the public's Tutankhamun believed they knew how Tutankhamun died. The story seemed clear. A young pharaoh, inexperienced in warfare or hunting, meeting a tragic end in a chariot accident that claimed his life at just 18 years old. This narrative fit our expectations about ancient dangers and the vulnerability of even the most powerful young rulers. But modern science has completely revolutionized our understanding of what actually happened to this remarkable young king. In 2005, cutting-edge CT scanning technology allowed scientists, for the first time, to examine Tutankhamun's remains in extraordinary detail, without disturbing the carefully preserved mummy wrappings. The results overturned decades of speculation and conspiracy theories. Earlier X-rays, taken in 1968, had revealed the bone fragments inside the skull cavity. For years, this led to theories about violent death, assassination plots, and political conspiracies. Some researchers suggested the young pharaoh had been murdered by political rivals or ambitious courtiers seeking power. But the detailed, high-resolution CT scan images told a completely different story. Those bone fragments weren't evidence of traumatic head injury. They were artifacts of the mummification process itself. Ancient Egyptian embalmers had to remove the brain through the nasal cavity using long bronze tools. Sometimes this delicate process created small bone chips that remained inside the skull. The CT scans definitively ruled out any theory of murder by head trauma. Instead, the real cause of death was far more medically complex and tragically mundane. Tutankhamun had suffered a severe fracture of his left femur, the large bone in his upper leg. This wasn't a minor injury. The break was serious enough to potentially cause life-threatening complications. In the ancient world, before modern antibiotics or surgical techniques, such injuries often became infected. What might start as a broken bone could quickly develop into septicemia, blood poisoning, that would be fatal within days or weeks. The evidence suggests that Tutankhamun may have lived for some time after this injury, but ultimately the complications from infection or other medical issues related to the broken leg led to his death, not the dramatic violence of assassination conspiracies, but the harsh medical reality that even pharaohs faced the same biological vulnerabilities as everyone else. This discovery humanizes Tutankhamun in ways that conspiracy theories never could. Legacy and lessons. So why do these discoveries matter so much to us today? Why should we care about the fate of a pharaoh who lived and died over 3,000 years ago in a world that seemed completely different from our own? Because Tutankhamun's story reveals the universal human experiences that transcend every boundary of time, culture, and circumstance. The love of parents for their children, the grief that comes with loss, modern technology, DNA analysis, CT scanning, forensic archaeology, chemical analysis, all allow us to hear voices from the past with unprecedented clarity and detail. We can understand not just what happened, but how people felt, what they valued, what they feared, what they hoped for, what they believed about life and death and the mystery of existence itself. Tutankhamun This young pharaoh, who ruled for such a brief time, has achieved a kind of immortality that he probably never could have imagined. Not through military conquests or massive monument, but by becoming a bridge between past and present, a reminder that beneath all that teaches us something new, not just about ancient Egypt, but about ourselves. In the end, Tutankhamun's greatest treasure isn't gold or jewels, but the reminder that we are all part of an unbroken chain of human experience, stretching back through countless generations and forward into an uncertain but hopeful future. And perhaps that's the most wonderful thing of all.